Hey there everyone, I hope you're ready for an amazing estate sale today. There's so much to see and so little time. The homeowners were apparently owners of an antique store in the county next to us, so they probably had a lot of things brought over from that store into their house, but there is such a wealth of items here that it just overwhelms you when you walk in the door and each room in the house. The design of this house was very cut up, so there was a lot of different hallways, there were different staircases upstairs, there was a basement, and so many rooms that you could easily get lost in this place. The first room that we went in was basically vinyl records and a few older instruments. There was another room full of DVDs and music CDs. A lot of the DVDs had never been opened. They were still in their original wrapper, which was pretty amazing. The front room of this house probably had the most amazing stuff in it compared to a lot of the other rooms. There was a lot of older statues, some older toys that were metal, lots of framed pieces and lamps. One thing I've finally learned about going to some of the estate sales is to take your own bags. So I take my own cloth bags now. That way if I find everything, I'm not trying to juggle everything in my arms. I can put it in my bag easily and carry it around. This room had lots of lamps, and there were some amazing lamps there in the corner with the floral design that I really hadn't seen before. I did find a few things from this front room, so stick around until the end of the video to see which items we found and what deals we couldn't pass up. I saw this horse statue in the first room, and it was made of leather, which I'd never seen before. I can't remember the price they had on it. I think they had $40 on it. So for the first day of the sale, everything was regular price. For the last day of the sale, everything went half off, and then the later part of the day, everything went 75% off. Now I was there for the 50% off, so I did get some deals on the second day that I went, but hopefully I made good choices in trying to buy things to resell. Some of the things we might keep for ourselves just because we liked it. I looked up this tractor and it was going for about $75 on eBay. This was the first day of the sale, so they had $15 on it. I wasn't sure about getting it because it was so heavy, and I figured it would be bulky and kind of hard to mail, so I passed on it. I believe this was a corn husker, and I was also questioning whether I should buy it or not. They had $20 on it, but I was really looking for a little bit more of a deal that day than spending that much. And there was just so many things in this house, just lots of glassware. There were dishes, little statues, and I got to thinking and I told my husband, we don't really collect things like that. We don't collect anything, in fact. And I said it's just odd how people get stuck on something and they just like to collect it for whatever reason, but I don't do that myself. But you think of all the money that was put into these things that they're never going to get out of it, even at a sale like this today, because younger people have different kinds of tastes and they don't want all of these old glasses and dishes usually, or the statues, because that's just not what they're into. And it's so funny, every now and then I will hear parents talking about their children and how their children don't want any of their things and they just don't understand it. Well, I get it too. I get the parent side of it. I get the children's side of it. And I'm one of those that, you know, my mom has her things that she liked of my mom and dad's, and I have different tastes now. And again, I've probably looked at all of the things in her house my entire life. So, I've looked at it and enjoyed it and have my own house now of things that I like. And parents get so offended because their children don't want their stuff. And, it's just because you have different tastes now. I think it's sort of a generational thing too, as far as a lot of parents just want to keep everything. They sort of hoard everything. So parents, don't get mad at your kids because they don't want your stuff. Don't take it personal. They have their own homes and their own things that they like, and it's okay. And of course, there were quite a few books in this house, and I spent a lot of time looking through the books just to see if there were any old editions or anything that just might resell very good on eBay. These first two books, when I looked them up, they were selling for around $100 on eBay, which was quite surprising. So I had to snag these up because the books were only $3 on the first day that I went. I also picked up this set of Sherlock Holmes books, which I was pretty excited to get. They were only $3 a piece. I'm hoping to get around $20 for these, 15 to 20. I tried to look for older books and things that just maybe were a little different than what you might find on the shelves now. When looking up items at an estate sale or even a thrift store, I do use Google Lens, and I try to compare things that are selling on eBay. For some reason, when I get in a store, though, it's like my phone knows that I'm wanting to look something up, so I lose my signal and can't look up anything. And it happens pretty much every time I try to look it up in a store. This piece is probably the neatest thing that I picked up while at the estate sale. From the first day, I paid $10 for it, full price. I had no idea what it was for, but I just felt like it was something different. So when I got home and looked it up and finally figured out what it was, it could be a perfume atomizer, maybe even something to do with the medical field, like a dental office. But I thought it was neat, so it was showing that it could possibly sell anywhere from $80 to $100 and more if I find the right collector. So I had no idea that, that little $10 thing could probably go that much. So hopefully I can get a good price out of it. I sort of went out on a limb with these next two items. I looked at them the first day and sort of thought about them overnight. I thought if they're still there the next day, I'll get them at the half price mark. The first bottle was Raleigh's. It probably had maybe castor oil in it or some type of oil like that. It still had a little bit left in the bottom. It was $5, so I ended up getting it for $2.50. There was also this mini bottle of Old Spice, which I thought was interesting. I figured it was pretty old, but I wasn't sure how old. AI told me it was probably around the 1980s. Another neat find was I found this 8-track. It was still in the box, still had the wrapper around it. Now it had been opened, but I had never seen an 8-track in an original box, and this was Fonzie's Favorites from Happy Days, so it made it even better. I ended up paying, I think, $1 for it, so it was pretty neat. When I was looking up comps for the Virginian type movies, they seem to sell pretty well. So I grabbed up any Virginian movie that I saw. This was the second day, so the DVDs had been $3, so they were half off, so I got them for $1.50. This Bat Masterson DVD set, I had looked it up on eBay, and it was selling for around $20 to $25. So for $3, I had purchased it. They ended up selling it for $25, so that was a pretty good investment, and it flipped quick, which was even better. I'm so glad you could join me today as I went to an amazing estate sale. Be sure to join us next week to see what other great finds and deals we could not pass up. I will see you in the next video.